Hello everyone and welcome back to the 5th episode of King City. Now if this is the first time you're coming across my videos, King City is the first city that I ever tried to build on Cities Skylines since I'd never played the game before. Now if you do want to take a look at what we've done so far in the city, feel free to go through my videos on my channel, since I've documented basically everything from the beginning on my channel. Now our city is a thriving metropolis at this point, and we are just shy of 200,000 in population. So you could only imagine traffic is kind of crazy. And in this episode, in the first kind of half, I'll be going in and trying to add a new highway into the city, which will connect the two existing highways that kind of run parallel to one another. Now off camera, I did go in and add a second cemetery to the city. It's the one you see on the left. And I also added this little parkette in front of it, just because I was seeing a lot of people on foot here, so I thought it would kind of make sense to have a small park in front of them. And yeah, pretty much, because look at the amount of people that are just walking here. Now I'm not sure if this acts as a tourist destination, but I thought it might, so this is the parkette I was talking about. Now although the people only use the paths that you put down, but it still looks nice, and I do enjoy how it looks like. And I did have to reconfigure the street here a little, just because we had the street that was coming in, it would directly be connected to the ones in front of the cemetery. Now in terms of the location of the new highway, as I said, it's going to be connecting the two existing highways that we have in the city. Now the highway that we have right here in front of us, this just came with the original map basically, but I did add the second one above later on into the game. Now although we do have another highway that technically connects these two highways together, the issue with it is that it runs right through the city, and the part that it runs through the city, there are only two lanes, one in each direction. And also once it gets to the city, we kind of have intersections and roundabouts that basically stop the flow of the highway. Now that is one of the main reasons I am going in with this new highway here. I just wanted to make sure we have a better flow of traffic around the city, and also because we did build that new industrial area very close to here, and I just wanted all the businesses or all the industries that are working there to have good connection into and out of the city. Now initially I went in and created these underpasses where the new highway meets the old ones. I do end up keeping it for one of the interchanges, but not for this one, not for the one I'm building right now. Just because as I was building the first one, the process was interesting to say the least. So this is the interchange that I built myself, and I do keep the underpasses. And the reason why I say it was an interesting process is mostly because it's kind of challenging. It's challenging to have connections in all ways, and also not having a highway interchange that just looks wonky and weird, which to be honest tends to happen a lot. So I did try to minimize the wonkiness and just the weird angles and ramps that all of a sudden just shoot up into the air as much as I could, but it is difficult. And again, this is my first time just playing this game and working with the roads and everything. So even though I did try my best, it's not necessarily the most beautiful interchange you'll see, but it works. It ended up working and it was functioning well. Although I do find that as you keep on building more highways and roads, especially with connections out of the city, you just keep getting more cars. But I guess that is how it is in real life too. Once you make it um, very easy for people to drive around, then they just tend to pick that option, pick that method for traveling. Now, what I found to be helpful when building these highways, especially at points where you have on ramps and off ramps merging, is kind of increasing the number of lanes you have. So let's say you have 2 lanes coming in and merging into the highway, and the highway has 3 lanes itself. Just making it 5 lane for the point where they have to merge, and then as the highway goes on, reducing the lanes one by one. And that's basically what I was doing right here. I find that it helps with the flow of traffic, just because a lot of times if you don't have this, you will have cars on the ramps trying to change lanes and basically coming to a full stop. Whereas once you put this, they have some space to continue going, and then later down in the highway they can change lanes. I also do find it helpful for the off ramps. So if you have a ramp with 2 lanes exiting the highway and you add more lanes prior to the ramp, you will have people going into those new lanes much before reaching the ramp. So again, it helps with the traffic flow, and people are already in their own lanes for the most part once they have reached the ramp. Whereas if you don't have those extra lanes, they'll be trying to decide right at the ramp, which can create a traffic jam just because you have so many people just trying to change lanes right there. Now I did have to move around a few power lines here just because it was right above the area where I was trying to build a ramp. Nothing too special, but yeah, I did end up having to move a few of these power lines just so we could have this ramp right here. Now, from all the ramps that we just built, the one I'm trying to build here was probably the most challenging one, just because all the other ones had already been built, so I did have to work around all of them. And what I was trying to avoid was having all these weird angles, or just having the ramp all of a sudden like shoot up fully into the air. I was trying to avoid those and make sure we have these turns that are smooth and not like really choppy, which again was hard because you were trying to basically go over everything that I'd built before. So I did try my best, and it did end up having a few of those weird angles. Now I do go off camera later, and I did try to fix it a bit more again. So what you see here is not the final result, but in terms of layout and the path it takes, it's very similar to this one. It's essentially the same one, but in terms of how it looks once you move close up, it does look better once I try to do it off camera. Now moving on to the second interchange, I kind of told myself, you know what, maybe it would be better if you go in with the pre-made intersections or interchanges, just because the first one, like making the first one, was kind of a mess. And I thought, you know what, let's just go in with one of the ones the game already has, and we'll just go from there. So that's what I decided to do here, and I just picked one that would connect two highways and has connections hopefully for the highway going south into other parts of the city in the future. So that's what I basically did. Although I did not realize that once you get to the interchange itself, the highway would be elevated, and neither of my highways were elevated. But I do end up elevating just a little part of the new highway that we built, just so we can connect it to the interchange that we have. I also went in and created a overpass over the highway from one of the streets, and also put in some connections onto the street from the highway, mainly due to the industrial zoning that we have there, just because I wanted them to have connection from the highway. And here I was just trying to see how the whole system is going to work. Now, I do have to say, even though we made a whole lot of new roads and highways, traffic is still pretty insane. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I am still zoning quite a lot of areas. I am still zoning a lot of businesses. So I do understand that those are the people moving in. Oh yeah, this is the ramp I was talking about. Like, look at just the weird angles. Just, yeah, this is the one I end up fixing again, just because it looks pretty weird. And yeah, pretty much. So now in terms of function, the system does work. I do make a few tweaks like here and there, but other than that, it's working all right. And we just gotta give it time. We gotta give it time and just see how the whole thing ends up functioning, basically. Okay, so now that the highways are done, we are back in the city and we basically have a demand for everything. Um, Now I am back in the area that we tried to develop in the last episode, but I ended up not liking how it was turning out. So we are trying to develop that area once again, but this time we are going with more density. I was trying to do the townhomes initially, but this time we are going in with some high density towards the main street that we have, and then kind of toning it down into smaller apartments, and then townhomes, and eventually some single family homes the further we get from this street right here, the one with the dedicated bus lanes. Now, although I said we are done with the highways, I did lie just a little. Just because I wanted another entrance from the highway into this part of the city, so they're not forced to take the other entrances basically, because those ones are already jam packed with traffic, and I didn't really want to add more pressure onto them. So I went in with a 6 lane road here, which would kind of act as a new main road for this part of town. And I went in with a smaller intersection here from the ones that the game has, and made a connection just because I wanted this road to eventually go upwards as well, or north, if you would say. So I wanted to make sure we have connections in all directions rather than the other two that only connect into the city and not upwards. Now, again, in terms of height and density, we are going with the tallest buildings towards the main street. I did remove some of the tall ones further down here, just because it was too repetitive and just too tall and too dense, to be honest. And I tried to minimize the height as we were coming towards the water, just because I have this little section down here, right here, which I'm doing basically all Mediterranean style buildings, and I didn't really want such tall buildings right by these ones. So that's why I try to go in for smile tiles, even though they're high density apartments, going with the smaller tiles. So we kind of tone down in terms of height. And I thought I hadn't used the Mediterranean style buildings a whole lot, so why not? Let's give it a try. Let's create this area of itself, and yeah, let's see how it will turn out. Now, as we're moving away from the density, I do want to put down some single family homes. But as I've mentioned before, it is kind of difficult for me to really come up with suitable areas for these neighborhoods. But I did think this area would make sense for putting down this neighborhood. Now, I wanted to put the police headquarters here, and I did end up going with two of the same buildings, just because I do like how the buildings look like, and I thought just by putting two down beside each other, they would make this place look like a some sort of like a center, like a real headquarter, and that's basically what I'm doing here. Now, since I put them at kind of an angle, the roads did have to be a little weird, but I think it's still fine overall. And what I will end up doing is I'll just zone everything around this area with the Mediterranean architecture as well. And once I put in some trees and some pathways in between, I actually ended up liking this area quite a lot. But yeah, now the good thing is this area is going to be safe, pretty safe with two headquarters. The reason why I put two of these buildings and kind of put them in the center of this area was because I wanted the buildings to stand out. I didn't necessarily want them like tucked away somewhere in between too many buildings. And when I put the Mediterranean buildings around, they're low density, so they're not too tall. They don't really take away from the police buildings, and I thought it would be a nice combination with each other. And again, as we're moving away from the main street, we're just trying to tone down the buildings and just kind of make them smaller and smaller until we get to the single family homes. So here I went in with one of the signature buildings that we had unlocked for us, and it's just one of the apartments that we have. And in terms of style and architecture, I thought it would make sense to have it placed close to the Mediterranean apartments that we have. But then I thought if I bring it here close to the police stations that we put down, then we could just go ahead and zone everything around it with the Mediterranean buildings. And now they're not necessarily similar or identical in style, but you kind of get the same vibe from them. They're more like older style buildings and shorter in height, so I thought it would make sense. And once the area builds out, it actually does fit in my opinion. Now, let me know how you feel about it, or what you think it looks like. But overall, I think they fit in pretty good with each other. Now, I was carried away with zoning everything and just building streets, and then I kind of zoomed out of the city and saw all the people waiting for ambulances. To be honest, I'm not exactly sure if this is an issue with accessibility in terms of too much traffic holding the ambulances back, or it's just a matter of not having enough clinics and hospitals around. So I'm not exactly sure. I'll try to find out what the root cause of the issue is. But I did go ahead and put in some more clinics and just smaller clinics, not necessarily a hospital, all around the city in the hope of alleviating this problem. But when I was checking the main hospital that we have in the city, it's not even half full in terms of patients. So I'm guessing it's just ambulances, not enough ambulances. I wish there was a way you could just add ambulances and not clinics in particular, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so up here we have a remaining little section of undeveloped land. And I thought since we keep getting demand for single family homes, this would make sense as an area to put the homes in. I also did go around the city and try to kind of make up for any lack that we have in terms of services, in terms of all of them: schools, fire stations, police stations, and hospitals. And what I do find is that once you are lacking in any of those services, the demand for growth tends to slow down. And it makes sense, right? Because who would want to move into a city that's lacking essential services? That being said, this is a wrap for episode number 5. And I do appreciate you if you've made it this far. Please feel free to let me know how you feel about the city, about what we've done so far with the city. And also let me know if you like the way I record the game, the way I play the game. I would love to hear from you guys. And that's pretty much it. Thanks again, and we'll be back with another episode pretty soon. All the best.